Today we're diving into the world of flight with an organization right here in Princeton called Flight Expo. Whether you're dreaming of soaring through the clouds or looking to make those planes get off the ground safely, this episode is your co-pilot. So buckle up and prepare for takeoff as we uncover the ins and outs of Flight Expo.
Welcome to the Princeton Podcast, where we talk about upcoming events, news, and local businesses. This is Princeton. Play here, stay here.
Before we get started today, just a reminder to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We're also recording on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe at This Is Princeton MN.
All right, everyone. I'm Zach Kitzman here with Kim Young and Mary Patno. Today's podcast is brought to you by Princeton Area Chamber of Commerce and Tourism. And today we have some special guests, but I'm going to let Mary lead us in.
We do have special guests today. Today we'd like to welcome Sharon Sandberg to the podcast. Sharon is one of the founders of Flight Expo, a Princeton organization that educates and engages individuals about the different facets of aviation. Did I say that word right?
Yeah.
Facets? Okay.
You did good.
And with Sharon is her co-pilot, Faith. We are so excited to learn more about the Flight Expo. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sharon, I used to work with you many years ago. When I looked at your website, it reminded me that it was kind of at the very beginning.
Correct.
You were just getting started, and I helped a little bit with some grant writing and things like that. And so it was fun to see. It's really fun to see where you started and where you are now. I mean, it's really incredible. So tell us about how Flight Expo even began.
Flight Expo was founded in the mid-90s, and we used to do an aviation event down in the Minneapolis Convention Center. We actually were partnered with the state of Minnesota at the time, and what they wanted was to have a 2-day event to open up their arms to anything aviation. We ran that for about 3 or 4 years, and then it became too cost-effective. Then also we went on to doing the Minnesota Wright Flyer. So Flight Expo has a full-scale Minnesota Wright Flyer. It's on display up in the Pine County Museum in Ascoff, Minnesota. I tried to get it here in Princeton. We had no place to put a 48-foot wingspan. It just so happened.
So cool.
It really was. We had to move it piece by piece up there. It was very interesting. And so about 12 years ago, to lead you into where we are now, so that's the base, okay? Our goal has always been to promote aviation through education and preservation. Those are our goals, and we've kept with that. About 12 years ago, we found an organization called Build a Plane over at Oshkosh, and they were like a facilitator of aircraft. They would let nonprofits or schools be the recipient of these aircraft that were being donated in. And as long as you had an educational program, that was fine. And Dwayne and I were in the process, and also my nephew John were like, what else can we do for these kids? Because we were doing Young Eagles rides, which is something the Experimental Aircraft Association was doing. But the kids were still walking away with, oh, is that it? Mm-hmm. So that's how we started. We started with 6 kids 12 years ago. I think our fullest class was 20, and I almost had 2 people walk off. They were not happy with me. But we've gotten it down to like 8 and 10 kids. That's all we allow in our class. Originally, we were running the classes really long, from October to almost Christmas time. We found that most kids don't come in. Our parents don't bring the kids in December, so we have now 3 sessions, and they're each about 6 to 8 weeks long. And we do every Tuesday night and every other Saturday with the kids. From that, our first aircraft that we had donated in, we were able to sell and buy a kit fox, or not, it was a kit fox. We sold and we bought a Cessna 150. So we've actually also been doing flight training out on the airport.
So Back to the Build a Plane. So basically these planes get donated in.
Correct.
And you then educate basically students how to get them up and running?
Right. Well, what happened?
Yeah, let's just back up just even a hair, even before that, for all the listeners that don't know, what is the Flight Expo? And are you guys located here in Princeton?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Flight Expo is a 501c3 organization, and we are located in Princeton. Why did we choose Princeton?
Yeah.
Originally, well, it would have been out of Zimmerman. That's where I lived. It started in Minneapolis. But my husband and I built a hangar here at the Princeton airport, and one of the biggest reasons were we could actually own the land underneath our hangar, and also we were outside of the umbrella of being in the Mac airport, which means that you have a lot more freedom out here when you fly, and you don't have to worry about so many particulars when you fly. So that's one of the reasons, and because I'm here and because I'm the president, it's sort of hung here.
So is it kind of like a class for people that want to learn more about aviation or get their pilot's license? Or, I mean, what would be your core?
We have two different courses. We have the one that we bring kids in, and we get them involved in aviation, be it with hand tools and learning different skills. And then where we found a lot of people wanted to learn how to fly, that's where the 150, and we also have a 172 that did come through the Build-A-Plane program.
What is a 150 and
The
172?
Cessna 150 is a two-place aircraft, and it's a trainer.
Okay.
And a Cessna 172 is a four-place aircraft, and they can either be a trainer or they can be probably a 4 to 6 hour type aircraft, and you can cross-country in it. You can cross-country in either one. It just depends on how many stops you want to make.
And both of these planes were donated to the Build-A-Plane program, and you...
The 150, basically I consider it donated because we sold the kit box and we used that funding to buy the 150.
Okay.
And the 172, yes, that was completely donated in. We did have to go out and buy an engine, but we were able to sell some of the parts so that we could actually have the engine.
And why is it so important that students are schooled in this area of aviation mechanics?
Both mechanics and the pilots, well, like we were talking earlier, Boeing had just come out at EAA, and this has been going on for over 20 years. We're seeing the baby boomers slowly but surely retire, and it's coming faster and faster and faster. The other thing that I saw in my era is the government stopped funding when guys got out of the military, be it female or male. In the 70s, they used to get a full ride. If you wanted to be a mechanic, if you wanted to be a pilot, they were given full credit. We just, from what I understand, the military is just now starting that back up. But there was a full era in there that there was not very many people entering the industry. The other thing, it got a bad rap because so many were being furloughed, and you're talking commercial. They didn't realize that the private sector as well as the corporate sector was really growing at that time. So that is one of the reasons right there. The baby boomers and the lack of education back in that era, so you skipped a whole generation. So now we're playing catch up.
With pilots,
With
and mechanics, and
any-
everybody in the industry.
Everybody in the industry.
Okay.
Doesn't matter if it's a pilot, mechanic, if you're in the, what else am I thinking? Technicians, all of that.
So there's a huge shortage right now that we're trying to catch up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very huge.
Yeah.
And when I say huge, now like Boeing just came out, I'll just read the statistics we have here. They are looking at 20-year need, 2.4 million pilots, technicians, and cabin crew. And yeah, 20-year projection, that's what they're going to need. And right now,
How many million?
Like
2.4
between
million.
now and 20 years or in 20 years?
Between now and 20, that's what we're short. Right now, we are short. So you could probably go out and go for your trip. You're going to wherever, and they'll say, oh, well, the flight crew didn't make, technically, we don't have enough flight crew to do that.
And we're already seeing that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, and we're already seeing mechanics. We don't have enough mechanics to work on the aircraft.
Another reason not to fly.
She's such a scaredy cat.
We need to get you up in a small airplane.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Sounds
gosh.
really fun.
She's flown once in her entire life.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh no, I used to live in Colorado. I've flown many times.
Oh, I thought you drove
No.
all the time.
No, I usually flew, but yeah.
So the build a plane program, was it specifically made for the youth and to kind of move that needle forward and catch up on those numbers?
We've done quite a few things with our Build a Plane program. It's gotten kids involved in aviation. Is it moving the needle? I really don't know. I mean, I found after the fact some of the kids that were there maybe for one session, parents have come up, you have no idea what my son has done, and da 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 da, or my daughter, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I have a feeling just being around aviation has affected their where they want to go.
Yeah.
I have one gal that I reached back out to that was part of our program, and she originally wanted to get her private pilot's license. Well, she was working with she was part of the Build a Plane. She was working in our 150. So anyhow, she now is up in St. Cloud. She finished up her private pilot's, and she's working front desk up in St. Cloud Aviation. And if she can get
Cool.
she wants to go back and do more of the maintenance type stuff.
Yeah, that's super cool. I wish that I knew more about this when I was in high school.
Yeah.
'Cause that was definitely one of the paths that I wanted to pursue was the aviation and stuff.
So what ages are we talking about? We keep saying kids, but what ages do these kids
Well, the
come
Build a
into
Plane
Flight Expo?
starts at the Build a Plane starts at 12 to 18.
Okay.
But this year, I'm going to let Faith.
Yeah.
We've been out a couple of times. Go.
Yeah, so for the younger kids even, we have a mobile cockpit section. So it's just the front of an old airplane. The back of it is all gone, but there's seats for the kids, and then they can sit in there and push all the buttons, and they can hold on to the yoke and move it around and stuff. We brought that out to a daycare in Princeton just like about a month ago. So it was kids like little toddlers on probably from 2 to 5, would
Yeah.
you say, was about the age group of the daycare. So we went there, we read them a story about aviation, and then we had them get one at a time get into the cockpit, and then they could touch anything they wanted because there's nothing they could do to it that would.
They're not going to take flight.
Yeah.
It's so
Station.
cool.
Yeah, so we did that. And then also this past summer, we partnered with Community Ed here in Princeton, and we hosted we called it Aviation Adventures. It was a camp for K through 5th graders out at the Princeton airport. And we had 3 days of activities for the kids. We learned about flight, the science behind the flight. We learned about famous aviators. We did an activity where we had the kids. We learned about different aviators in the past and what they did. And then we talked about, well, which one would you hire if you had to pick one of these? And we learned about Charles Lindbergh, Amelia Earhart, and then the Wright brothers. And one of the kids, I was kind of surprised when the students commented, he was like, well, I wouldn't hire Amelia Earhart because she didn't make it. And I'm like, oh, didn't think of it like that.
Right.
But yeah, good point.
That's a good point.
Yeah, we want pilots that are very safe. They
Yeah.
can get us where we're going. But anyways, so that was a lot of fun. And that was just encouraging those younger kids in elementary school to start thinking about aviation. I feel like as a parent of a former Build-A-Plane student, aviation seems like something far off and maybe kind of
Yes.
unattainable and hard to get past that barrier of how do you get in on something
Yes,
like
it
this.
does. I'm thinking
Yeah.
right now, I'm like, I have 2 sons, one that's going to go to college. I'm like, I might talk to them about aviation, but
Yeah, absolutely. So part of what we do with Flight Expo is just trying to break down those barriers and make it a welcoming community for any family to come in and help them along their path.
And you might not even consider, like even the mechanical part of it, that you might not even consider, an aircraft mechanic. I didn't know that, I didn't think about that being a thing. You think about a mechanic as only cars. So that's a whole different field that kids probably don't even know exists.
Correct. Correct.
And can kids just reach out to you guys through the schools or through your guys' website to learn more, or how would they reach out?
We have a website, and we've been working with the schools, letting them know about the program. Before COVID, I used to go out and do they had like a 1-day career type deal. So we would do something like that. But after COVID, everybody's still scrambling on makeup. What did
Yep.
we? So, and we've had a big turnover up here too. The beauty of this area too is that we have an airport right in our backyard. With this class, it was really cute. We taught them the code for the arrival departure building. And you, as a public, you are allowed to go into the arrival departure building, which a lot of people don't realize. It's not, oh, there's a gate, we can't go in, or yeah, there's places you can't go, but it's showing the kids and telling them, hey, come out, watch the airplanes and have fun. And if you have to go to the bathroom, here's the AD building, here's the codes, and you can go in and go do it.
Right.
So
That's so exciting.
That is really cool.
That's fun.
Uh-huh.
Let's make a day trip.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing after? So, our next question I had was the flying club. I just wanted to learn a little more about the club and what the offer is, and is it just locals or how does that pertain?
no, we've had both 14-year-olds or 13-year-olds start flying with us, as well as 20s plus fly with us. And we've had like 3 or 4 different instructors. We have a current instructor. I call it an instructor and a half because we have one that's part-time. And as if you really want to get into aviation and become a pilot, we'll hook you up. We do have on our website how much it usually costs for the aircraft rental. The instructor, we'd work with them on the instructor rate. All prices are considered wet, which means it has fuel in it.
I've never heard that term.
I haven't either.
Yeah, it's a term in aviation. There's dry and wet. I've had to learn a few things too.
Yeah.
The other thing too with our program, we've had probably about, I think our number was up to 10 or 12 of our kids that have gotten their private pilot's license. We have one that went off to U of M. He right now got a full ride with ROTC. So yeah, aviation ROTC. So afterwards, he wants to go into the Air Force. We have 2 of them that went up to UND. Both of them had their private pilot's license. And we have one that's down in Mankato, hopefully, or no, 2, I think, no, 2 down in Mankato. They both had their private pilot's license. One of them said that if he had to do it all over again, he would probably stay home instead of the numbers of dollars that he's spending right now in the college. That's the other thing that we look at is how can we get the kids, be it the mechanics or the flying, to get where they want to go without these huge numbers.
It's extremely expensive.
Well, anything is.
Yeah.
And like I've told parents, I'm a grandma. And to know that my granddaughter might come out of college with a $200,000 debt, it's like, no, wait a minute. There's other avenues we can do, still getting them what they want. So that's what we're also trying to help the kids. Okay, it's not always college. If mom and dad can't afford it, these are the other routes that we can do that's cost afforded and still giving you your degree as well as all of your ratings that you want or your A&P license.
Would you mind going through a couple of those options? Of
Sure.
Getting your license?
Liberty College online right now has a program. It's a 4-year college, but they also partner with schools or FAA schools that are 141. That's another reason to jump ahead that Flight Expo is working right now to be an FAA Part 141 so that we can also help out right here in Princeton with that. We have the Choose Aerospace program for the maintenance side, which we have partnered with a Part 147, and that actually gives the student, there's 3 tests for maintenance. There's the general, the power plant, and the airframe. And with the general, Choose Aerospace, which is approved FAA, but we have to partner with a 147, they would be able to go through their whole class. It's 90% online, 10% coming into our facility to do their hands-on. And they would be able to graduate, hopefully the CTEs in our classes, our schools would allow this. Again, we're working with those. But I've already gotten guaranteed with the Part 147s, they complete all their testing when they turn 18. They take this test. It takes off probably roughly about $5,000 to $7,000, as well as 6 months of training, so they can go ahead and get right onto their power plant or their airframe. The other thing, by getting the generals out of the way, they can do another route, which both of them can do another route, and that is with the AMP license working underneath a person that's a inspection authorization, which is a step up from an AMP, and being basically checked off. You've worked for them doing this, you've worked for them doing that, and doing roughly, I think it's like 2,000 or 3,000 hours. Don't quote me. It's by the FAA standards. They get checked off. That's how one of our mechanics got his rating, and he went in and got his A&P. For the private pilots, we can get them through their instrument and their commercial. And once they get their commercial, they can go in and start flying as long as they have a commercial with a CFI, Certified Flight Instructor. They can actually start flying other students. And that's the other thing which people don't realize when they're a pilot is these schools say, okay, you're going to get all these ratings, which is great. But you graduate and you still are less 600 hours that you have to accomplish before an airline is going to look at you. So you have to figure out how you're going to do that. And again, that's another reason why we want to be a Part 141, is because without the 141, it's not like the kids will get credited. In fact, Delta has put a program together where Delta, American Airlines, if they partner with somebody that's not a 141, those hours won't be credited for them.
Wow.
So it's, yeah.
So if they partner with you, they can sort of get some hours on the front end.
Right.
A little bit more than,
Right.
and then they have a place to get
Right.
the hours after
Yeah.
they're certified or
Yeah.
graduate.
The one coming in from Mankato, I asked him specifically, have you signed on this dotted line after I'd gone through one other student? And he said, nope, Sharon, I am good to go. I can go ahead and be a CFI with you.
CFI,
Certified Flight Instructor, and actually we're hoping he's get a double I, which he would be also be able to give you your instrument rating too.
Okay.
Okay?
Instrument
Can you repeat
rating.
that Liberty, was it Liberty?
Liberty College.
Liberty College, okay.
Liberty College, they're all online, and they're
That's
out
where
on
you
the
get your
east.
generals. Okay.
You can get your generals. You can even get an aviation aviation degree from them, and then they partner with other 141 or 147 schools
To do the hands-on
to
piece
do
of
the
it.
hands-on piece, either the maintenance side or the flying side.
Okay.
This is so cool, and it's
yeah.
right in Princeton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is probably a really good time to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about your restoration projects and other things that you have going on at Flight Expo.
Okay.
All right?
Perfect.
If you're a Princeton business that wants to increase your social engagement, influence purchase decisions, and build a stronger brand presence in Princeton, we want to work with you. We are offering 10 to 15 dedicated reels for your business and or a whiteboard animation, a featured spot on the Princeton podcast, your logo featured on our website, social collaborations on our social channels with over 6,000 followers, an email blast to over 400 active chamber members. Last but not least, we are guaranteeing over 15,000 views for your business and your brand and your product. And due to this claim, we're only offering this for 3 businesses. So if this is something that you want to do, please contact Kim at the Chamber to learn more information. Hope to work with you soon.
All right, we are back and we are going to talk about restoration. So Flight Expo is working on restoring a Grumman S2F tracker, and I am the queen of mispronouncing things. So Sharon, I will give that right back to you.
It's called a Grumman S2F.
Grumman, yeah, okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's an S2F tracker, and it's not currently it's not a restoration, it's a preservation, simply because it's such a big aircraft, and it came in from Anoka. It had been sitting on the airport for over 20 years. The nonprofit that owned it went defunct. Unfortunately, had to close their doors. Got donated into Flight Expo. We were given basically the opportunity to figure out how to get it from Anoka County Airport up to Princeton Airport. And if you go to our website, you'll see a lot of the video that got placed around that aircraft. The biggest thing right now before we start doing a restoration with that aircraft is building a hangar to go around it. So we are looking at buildings at the airport. Anyhow, but that is one of the restorations. We have another restoration. We have a Cessna 152 that the kids will be working on this year. We have a Luscombe project, which is a small aircraft that they'll be working on the wings. And then we have a dedicated group that comes in every Saturday for about 4 to 5 hours that works on an aircraft called Tsunami. And that was a one-of-a-kind aircraft designed for speed records as well as air racing back in the 80s and 90s. And in fact, today is the 33rd anniversary of when it had its last flight.
Wow.
That's super cool.
And then yesterday I happened to be on a phone call with Connexus. And we were talking about grants, and they mentioned, I said, Flight Expo is going to be on the podcast tomorrow. They mentioned that you were the winner of
Yes.
a recent grant,
Yes.
where it came down to two, from what I understand, it comes down to 2 nonprofits, and then from there the members vote.
Yeah.
And Flight Expo was awarded $1,500?
Yes.
Yes.
Very
And
cool.
so that was for one of the restoration projects, or?
That was actually for, basically it went into the housing. So,
Yeah.
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 So, but yeah, that money is basically sitting in the bank to basically, hopefully, for our building that we are
Yeah,
looking at.
Great.
So
That's
the Grumman, you said Grumman?
Yeah.
Grumman. Is that the one that we see sitting outside?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I just saw that like a couple weeks ago. I was driving with my daughter. I'm like, look at that plane.
Yeah.
But when you said that you need to build a hangar for it, I thought that must be it.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, that is it.
Very
That's
cool.
great.
Can people drive in there and just look at it?
You can drive in and look at it. We had tours in April. I know that somebody's reached out and said, can we come in and do tours? We might open it back up. It's just been a really busy summer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tours meaning inside and everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So how do you collaborate with schools, or do you locally? I know you talked about wanting to collaborate with some colleges, but how about locally with high schools or things like that?
I'm going to let you handle this one.
Oh, okay. Well, we would like to continue reaching out to more high schools. Last year there was an intern from
Zimmerman.
High School, and we would like to continue to expand and grow in that direction.
Excellent. And so that way, there might be an opportunity for a student to get credit, possibly?
Yeah, we hope. I mean, that would be the goal, is
Yeah.
to have more of the schools look at this as a credited type area for their students. And also for the students to realize
Right.
that they can do this.
What would what would that collaboration look like between you guys and the school?
I'm really open right now. I mean, I would love to have the schools, excuse me, maybe even one of the teachers come out during our Build-A-Plane and be part of the Build-A-Plane so they understand what all these kids actually do in Build-A-Plane, and the parents know, because there's certain things that they can't do in school just because of liability issues. But because we are a nonprofit in the way that we run the program, we have the sign-off of the parents, and they have knowledge of that they are going to run hand tools. They are going to learn what a shear is, or a brake is, or welding,
Right.
and the hands-on there. So it would be wonderful if, these CTE teachers or the shop teachers or whatever would be able to come out and maybe even just volunteer a couple of nights during our program, or even on a Saturday, so that they can actually talk about it in their school, because that's the big thing. It's a stumbling block of, well, do they really do anything, or is it just another Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts
Right.
or Girl Scouts type thing, or is it just all talking? And
Yeah.
so yeah.
And it's not, is what you're saying.
Yeah. It's not.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
We're legit.
Yeah, that's great. We have got to get you connected.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really awesome.
Do you guys have any big plans or goals or what's next for the Flight Expo in the next months, years?
We're working on the hangar. I feel like somebody that keeps throwing against the wall. We've been working on a hangar since Kim used to write for grants with us, but we are very, very serious now. We've been slowly but surely putting money away. We've also been working with another nonprofit that does loans for nonprofit down in the Twin Cities to get that accomplished, and now it's working with the city and working through that process with them. So that is one of the biggest goals. We would love to have the flight service station out there that's just sitting with 2 FAA guys in it. But again, it's
A process.
a process.
Yeah. And you have some events coming up too for the community.
Yeah, on October 19th from 11:30 to 1:30, we have an event for families. It's free at the Princeton Airport. We'll have chili, candy, airplanes, and a bouncy house. So we encourage all families to come out. Kids are welcome to dress in costume. So we'll be doing that on October 19th at the Princeton Airport. And then we also have a chili competition fundraiser on November 23rd, and this will take place at the primary school from 11 to 1:30. And we're looking for people that would be willing to enter their chili into the competition, and then of course families to come and sample the chili and things. And that'll be $10 for adults and $5 for kids, and free for 5 and under.
That sounds fun. And the Halloween event, what a great way to get people out there to learn more about your program and see.
And just learn that they
Yep.
have an airport
Right.
in the community.
Right.
I mean, we talked about that
Yep.
years ago, that
Yes.
a lot of people would like, Princeton has an airport?
I think people forget that we have one. Like in the back of their head, they know that we have an airport, but it's not like people get to go and explore or see or be a part of it or participate with anything in the airport. So it's not really something that comes to front of mind when you think about our town, right? Like
Right.
there's only a handful, a select full of people that actually deal with the airport. So, you know.
Right, and that's where we're like, nope, we do have an airport, and
Right.
it's for everybody.
And you've got some great things happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I come fly my remote airplane at the
Well, we'd have to get.
Well, thank you. That was
Well,
awesome.
yeah, we just appreciate both of you being here today and sharing all of your knowledge. And we know that it's a really busy time and that you have a lot going on, so we appreciate you taking the time to be here today.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for being with us today.
Well, thank you, guys.
We'd love to have you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So until next time, this is Kim, Zach, and Mary signing off. This is Princeton. Stay here, play here.
And fly here.
Podcast produced by Kitzman Creations. Music by Charles Moe. Be sure to subscribe to the Princeton Podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Also, to view our awkward moments, check us out on our YouTube channel and visit us at www.thisisprincetonmn.com.